Hello everyone, welcome to the market outlook for the week. Gaurang Shah here from Geojit Financial Services. And as I speak to all of you all this Monday morning at around about 10 o'clock, markets have continued their winning momentum carried forward from last week on Friday, wherein last week on Friday we saw a fantastic recovery in closing, taking off all the resistance levels and closing at intraday high. Before I go any further, let me give you certain levels on the Sensex Nifty, Bank Nifty or Nifty Bank, Rupee Dollar and crude oil. So Sensex is up about 50 odd points and the level is 80,465. On the Nifty, uptick of about 30 odd points, 24,575. On Bank Nifty, there has been a little bit lower level, down 75 odd points, and the level is 50,460. Rupee dollar equation on the rupee front, strength of 0.07 paise, and the level is 83.87 rupees to a dollar. And on the crude oil front, because of certain global news flows, we are seeing a downtick. Global news flows not from the Middle East, but on the economical front from China. Because of the sluggish demand over there, there has been a downtick on crude oil, and the level is $79.65 to a barrel Brent. $76.49 to a barrel is NYMEX. So on rupee and rupee dollar and crude oil, we'll expect some kind of lower levels on both. Lower levels on the dollar as far as rupee, strength in the rupee. 83.85, 83.80 could be the levels to expect in this week. And on the crude oil front, I think if we are decisively below $80 a barrel on Brent, and if we are below $75 to a barrel on NYMEX, I think it will open up a little bit of more positivity as far as all those economies which are dependent on imports of crude oil. On the markets, friends, just to give you a recoup of what we had mentioned last week. Last week we had mentioned Nifty levels, lower levels and higher levels. Lower levels were 23,900 and 24,100. These were the two levels on the lower side last week on Wednesday we had mentioned. And on the higher side, we had mentioned that if we are able to take off 24,400, 24,500 and give a close above those levels, then the momentum is likely to continue to the next level on the higher side. And that's what exactly happened. Friday's up move, highest closing of the day, carrying it forward this Monday morning. But this Monday morning, when we saw the opening of the markets and the current levels, markets did open up with a more positive bias. But as I speak to all of you all, the gains have been given up primarily because of short to medium term profit booking and purely because of the momentum that we've seen in the last 2 days, that is Friday last week and this Monday morning. Our view is that on the markets, at least for this week or possibly next week to 10 days, Nifty lower levels 24,450 to 24,550 if we are able to maintain these levels, and on the higher side if we are able to take off 24,750 and 24,850, then I think we have to prepare for a new all-time high on the markets. It may not happen immediately, but it may take some time given the fact that we've had a fantastic recovery last week and we've had a good momentum this Monday morning. I think if the closing today, that is on Monday closing, if we are able to close about 24,625, that is on the Nifty spot, 24,625, then I think the bias towards a new higher side can open up. But you remember last week it also mentioned that the journey towards 25,000 is going to be met with multiple resistance level as we go higher. Remains to be seen whether we are able to conquer those resistance level and give a closing above that. If you ask me, I think this entire fortnight or 2-3 weeks of consolidation between 24,400, 24,500 on the higher side and 24,100 and 23,900 on the lower side. This has possibly given us a sense of base building, foundation building, and if we have able to make that foundation strong, then I think the capability of withstanding those hurdles on the higher side and going beyond that is quite visible. Of course, these are markets. One can only go by some assumptions. More will be dependent on the global and local news flows. But I think preparing ourselves for a new high in the next week or 10 days cannot be ruled out in case we are able to take off 24,750 and 24,850 on the side on the Nifty spot. In terms of triggers, friend, like I mentioned, crude oil, because of weak Chinese demand, we have seen lower levels, and hope that no unfortunate incidents happens in the Middle East for the crude oil to spike up again. And lower crude oil prices are always beneficial for all those economies which are dependent on net imports of crude oil. Q1 earnings, we have seen a decisive curtains down like last week. One or two odd companies may announce their first quarter numbers this week, but then after that it's the end for the first quarter FY25. To sum up the first quarter earnings, well, one or two places we have seen some kind of concern, but overall nothing really to complain about. No red flags, no dark spots. Hope for better Q2, Q3, Q4 earnings going forward for FY25. FOMC meet and the outcome and the statements by Mr. Powell at Jackson Hole will be something that markets will be looking out forward for this week. But I think that entire fear that was there about a fortnight back about US going into recession, etc., has been put to rest, and possibly some kind of commentary or statement from Mr. Powell indicating any kind of direction towards a rate cut would help the markets globally, more in the US and possibly across the globe as well. Retail investor base has increased for the month of July, and the overall net investor base has also gone up to the next level. This indicates a sizable amount of interest amongst retail participants who are actively looking forward to this equity as an asset class for investment. So our sense, friend, is that we are possibly making ourselves placed in such a way that lower level is protected and higher level is attainable and sustainable. That's the more important thing. So we always give you two investment ideas. This week we have picked up a private sector bank, mid-cap private sector bank if you will, and a mid-cap capital goods engineering company. Both these names we have discussed earlier, but prudent to mention it again because of the earnings they have reported and our targets getting revised upwards. So the first one is from the private sector bank, IndusInd Bank. This has been one bank which has been consolidating on reported numbers, on certain news flows with respect to the asset quality provisioning and concerns on certain account. But our sense is that this bank has able to bail itself out from difficult situation given the management's concrete and focused attempts to move the business to the next level and improve the earnings. So the targets could be somewhere close to about 1,800, and the level where IndusInd Bank is trading right now, I think the downside is extremely protected. From a long-term fundamental point of view, we believe that this will be a good investment idea. Stagger your investments, start at current levels, don't put all your money at one time, and whenever you get dips in the market, you can start accumulating. The second one is KEC International. This has been one cap goods engineering company which has found itself re-rated on delivery of fantastic numbers, not only on quarter but half yearly and yearly. And if you look at the order book, it's distributed across 4 different business segments, and all those business segments, the order book is very, very healthy, and equally the capability of the company to execute those order books in all the 4 verticals and contribute to the top line and bottom line. Focus is going to be in terms of enhancing their business capabilities and capacities and execution of order book at a faster pace, which will translate into earnings visibility. Somewhere close to about 1020 is the target on KEC International. So, and risk reward is extremely favorable. Like IndusInd Bank, I think the downside for KEC International is also protected. So these are the 2 long-term investment ideas. Mind you, friends, these are not BTST, STBT, short-term, medium-term. Fundamentally, and I know in markets, always when you invest in a good fundamentally sound stock from a long-term point of view, the market has always rewarded you. So this is a long-term investment idea. Please do not trade into it. It's fundamental long-term idea, both IndusInd Bank and KC International. I'll again repeat, IndusInd Bank target 1,800 long term and KC International 1,020. Thank you very much for your patience, hearing, and I'll see you again next week. Till then, please take care of your health. Bye bye.